Always cash crisis. We're talking about Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 called monetary awareness.
All right, checking in for another news update in reference to a headline that I had to share just because it just makes you wonder, what do the banks know about 2024 that the average person doesn't know? And so JPMorgan, back at it again. I'm not sure if they're telling the truth, trying to create more market panic, not sure. But then again, when banks talk, share their analysis, you tend to listen because they know what things are really like behind the scenes because they actually see the people's wallets and they know what they're spending and how much is left after they're done spending. So real quick, want to run through an article, share my 2 cents on it. Just put it out there, give you guys something to chew on. And the reason this is important because the banks are definitely under the microscope because the economy is a driving force for the global financial system. And where the banks go, the world goes. We know about the losses they're taking right now due to holding all that government junk debt for the most part. But the clock is ticking before the next bank event takes place. So these type of stories could be considered the real news in the days ahead. So let's jump right into it. So here we got the Business Insiders. 99% of Americans will be financially worse off than they were pre-pandemic by mid-2024, JPMorgan says. So I'll thumb through it real quick. Share with you some of the thoughts, let you guys ponder the rest. So it starts off, the majority of Americans have burned through their excess savings piled up during COVID. And in the coming months, JPMorgan says it's likely that almost everyone will be worse off financially than they were in 2019. Says in a Thursday note, the bank's top strategist, Mark Kalanovic, that 80% of consumers, a group that accounts for nearly 2/3 of the consumption, have already depleted any saving cushion they may have built up during the lockdowns. He said it's likely that only the top 1% of consumers by income will be better off than before the pandemic. Says this chart below shows how by June 2024, every income group except the top 1% is on pace to dip below their March 2020 levels of inflation-adjusted liquid assets in the form of deposits and money market funds. So as we can see this chart here going back to March 20 when the economy shut down, and then following that, all the stimmy checks that came after that, it looks like the top percent peaked in liquid assets around December 2021, while the bottom 20% peaked in March of 2021. Probably coincides with the second or third stimmy check that we got. But as you can see, as of this summer, everybody was trending downward. But yet the top 1% is still, as they say, better off than everybody else. Goes on to say, JPMorgan estimated previously that their excess savings had peaked in August of 2021 at $2.1 trillion, boosted by the government stimulus checks that has since been whittled down to below $148 billion. Per JPMorgan's calculation as of October. It says consumers are facing tighter credit conditions and rising rates, the wind down of the stimulus and relief programs, declining excess savings and liquidity, and multiple years of above average inflation. So there we have Mark Kalanovic, JPMorgan's analyst, giving a little bit of a sneak preview into 2/3 of their depositors' balances, which at this current moment paints a very dark and dire picture for 2024. And according to him, it says mid-2024. So if those numbers pan out to be true, then that's just one more issue the government is going to have to face on top of all the debt issues, the deficit issues, the lack of confidence in the banking sector in and of itself. At the same time, everyone's expecting the Federal Reserve to pivot. So as you can see, 2024 is going to be very interesting to say the least, but thought I would just bring this to your attention. Curious to hear what you guys think. As always, if you find any value, hit that thumbs up button. I'll catch you guys on the next update. See you later.